All right. On Frounder, I have put two PSD files, Photoshop files, and I'm going to show you how to extract.
Do you want us to just watch again?
Just watch.
Kan du måske slukke lyset oppe, så skærmen den
Ja.
er klar?
Good idea.
Og så er den nede, eller sådan noget. Ja.
All right. So just watch, and I record everything, so there'll be videos afterwards of all my talking. So, but on Frounder, I've uploaded two Photoshop files, and we're going to work with at least one of them. And I'm going to show you, it is this banner I'm going to use, and I'm going to show you how in Photoshop you can extract very easily all your assets. I don't know if Marie showed you last week, but anyway, I'll show you what I usually do and how to use this. So please don't. Here we are. I have all my layers over here with all my text and these black boxes. So the first thing I'm going to do is to take and group. I want this these four items I want as pictures, as images, so that I can animate them. And the way to do that is in Photoshop to group them. So the first one here I've selected, I grouped, come on, and it's my bottom box. Alright, the next two are my circle, so it's a shape and it's my laboratory here. Command G, I just call it circle, and then I have into reality and the shape behind it. I think I call it mid box, and then I got the last one. Top box, and maybe I should, instead of separated names, these are going to be images. So as I was talking about last week, names here are actually critical, because I cannot use AEO and special signs and letters, because that might give me some problems in the browser. And I've got the background. Alright. I have these, now it's 4 groups, my elements. I simply select them, right click, and choose export as. Now I get a panel where all my different layers are laid out as individual images. I can choose what format do I want for these images. Should it be PNG? Should it be JPEG? Should it be PNG 8? Or GIF? And I can see the sizes of my images here. I think for these ones I'll choose PNG 8. I'll get nice images. Well, this one, it's actually a photo, so I choose PNG. It weighs 27 kilo. Let's try with a PNG 8. I want the transparent background, so I have to choose either PNG or GIF. Well, it's okay with the PNG 8. And this is going to be a PNG 8 as well. And this is going to be a PNG 8. Alright. So now I have my 4 images here. I can say export. And let me go into my folder here and make a new folder, because I'll show you a smart thing here. I call it banner2, and inside that folder I'm going to make a new folder, images, and I'll place my images inside this folder. So here they are. As you can see, this is really a quick and easy way to extract assets from a Photoshop file. Directly, I can export my layers as individual images. Beforehand, I had to slice my composition into slices and export every slice, and maybe I was not so precise in my slice. Now I just get the content. And only for the layers I want. I don't need a white background. So, and I just want one thing. I want to see this image size. It's 600 times 250. Fine. All right. Into Edge Animate, I make a new document. And this time I'm going to save it as a starter. And come on. I've made this folder banner2, so this time I'm not going to save in a folder, and you'll see why in a short while. I call this one banner2 and say save, and bingo! All my assets are in my program because I made a folder named images. And automatically, if I place my Edge Animate composition or file in a folder, and there already is a folder named images, will be shown in my library. Quite smart, I think. So I'm going to change the size 600 to 50. And I'm going to grab my assets. Come on. And I just drag some lines, but you can see actually Edge Animate has a very nice smart tools for placing my elements, aligning the elements. Okay, so now I'm going to make my animation. And if I look here, I have my banner. So that is the animation I'm going to make. So I think I'll take this one and move them a little bit like this. So this is my ending point. Again, I can choose whether to see elements or not see elements by clicking the elements. Here I want my circle to be on top of the others, so I drag it to the top. The circle is going to be animated coming in here, and then my boxes are going to drop down. The circle is going to move out again, and this time it is going to hide my boxes. So the first thing I'm going to do is to animate my box in. And where's actually a rectangle? Did I have a rectangle? I don't remember putting it there. So I just delete this rectangle like that. Top box, mid box, bottom. So again, I am turning on my toggle pin, and as this is my ending image, I remove the toggle pin out in the future, saying that I'm going to end here in a short while, and I change the present. Now I have my animation here, my transition. I'm going to make a rotation. Under transform I have rotation. And zero rotation, or below zero, negative rotation, makes it go counterclockwise. And this is degrees. So I wanted to rotate 2 times. So actually I give it a rotation of minus 720. It was the wrong way. Well, no problem. I can see my keyframes down here, so I can grab my keyframe. Here I have to move my playhead, grab my keyframe, and give it 720 instead of minus 720. And now it animates smooth in, rotates 2 times. I want an ease in. This time I want ease out. I want ease out, and I choose bounce this time for my animation. Let's see. So actually what I've done is that I've moved my circle from A to B. I've decided that by going this distance it has to rotate 2 times, and I've added an easing in order to make the rotation or the animation to be as I want it to be. So actually a lot of the animation in this program is about choosing properties and choosing right timing, of course, and right easing. So that was that. And now I want to animate my boxes. Again, this is their ending position. So again, I move my toggle pin, keep my playhead where I want the animation to start. I want the animation to start when my circle is has stopped rotating. So I take my 3 boxes, drag them out, and as you see, well, they're dragged in, but they sort of come together, and I want them to be spread like a sheet of cards or something like that. So I want them to have the same starting position, and this is a very common little animation trick. I want them to start equal so that they spread out. And the way to do that is I go back here on my starting position and I place them on top of each other so that they have the same starting point, because in that way they'll spread out nicely. I think they're a little too slow, so I grab the 3 of them and change the length of the animation. So, nice. Now comes the funny part, the new thing. I want this animation here, I want it to go opposite, and I want the circle to hide my elements when they go out. I can actually copy an animation. I have selected the whole transition. I place my playhead and say paste. So maybe I should. And now it does the exactly same thing again, but I can choose invert transition. So that goes in, box comes down, and it moves out. Maybe I will change the easing part for this one, but we can wait with that. First of all, I want the animation, I want these boxes to disappear while the circle is rotating over them. In CSS, and therefore also in Edge Animate, I have a property for objects which is my clipping property. The clipping property controls what part of an image do I actually see. And if there is a property, I can animate it. Up in my tool set, I have transform tool, I have my selection tool, I have transform tool, and the third tool is my clipping tool. When I select an object and select the clipping tool, I get these green boundary boxes around my object. And now I can again add my toggle pin, and this time this is the starting point. So I actually keep the and here it has to disappear totally. I keep the toggle pin where I started and moves the playhead and uses the clipping property. And the timing is not totally right. It starts a little bit, as you can see, too early, or maybe it's because of the easing, so I just give this a linear easing, because maybe, as you remembered from beforehand, when I choose or make a new transition, it inherits the easing from the last thing, the last object that I animated. So when I animated these these objects and used my an easing with this bouncing easing, when I make a new transition, it inherits this bouncing easing as well. So now I've removed it. And now I'll show you another smart thing. I can again copy a transition, and I can grab an object, and I can paste the transition. So I copy a transition from a timeline and paste it on an object on my stage. I think that's quite clever. So now these two boxes disappear. Quite nice. I could do it with the last object as well. Then I have to do some editing. But I could choose to paste. But as you can see, it gets all the properties, so I have to change it. Actually, I don't want this to... Oh, that was too far. Good. Now these two, clipping property here, change it. Let's see. So let's make a new, this one will get its own. Transition. So I move my playhead this. Okay. Let's see if it's working now. So that's it. So by using the clipping properties, I can actually hide objects and animate how they're hidden. So I can make a sort of animated mask of my objects. Any questions? And be free to ask all the questions you want why I'm doing this. So, and just to repeat what we did beforehand, I want to sort of loop this animation. So I think I'll move the playhead a little bit ahead here. Put a timeline trigger, insert a timeline trigger on my timeline. Choose playback, play from, choose stage, say 0. Like this. So now it loops endlessly. So now I want to control the looping, and I want the animation to stop here after my boxes has come in. The first thing I'm going to do is choose my stage. I don't know what's wrong here, but I miss something on my timeline. Ah, here it is. So I choose when I want to put actions on an object, I choose the curly brackets on the left hand side of the objects. Composition ready. And sim set variable, and first the name, count, and then the parameter, the value. All right. On my timeline, I insert another. And where's my animation? Where did my object go? There's a little button here where I can center my object. So I want to insert a new timeline trigger, and here I want to get my variable, my count variable, and I want this to be put inside a local variable. So I make this variable omgang. I add 1 like this. Make my if statement. No, first of all I reset my variable, my count, with my omgang. This is a nice mix of Danish and English. Dinglish. And then I have my if statement, and just for the clarity I move it down. If equals 3, I could use my panel down here to get this, but I mean, it's not that complicated to write stop. So now hopefully I have my banner going. I could use a little more time, I can see, on the timing and the hiding of the objects, but I'm not going to do that right now. So that's it. Now it's your turn. So first, from frontend, get the PSD file, extract the assets, and make a new HAnimate project for this banner. So this is kind of repetition. The new thing is that we can use our trimming property for the images, or clipping property, sorry.